There we are. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, our guest is Willie Blackwell, former NFL player, ordained minister, and kidney transplant patient tonight. Willie is here to tell us his story. Just briefly, Willie was born in St. Louis, Missouri, into a military family that traveled quite a bit as he was growing up. He played high school football at Airline High School, college football at Morris Brown College in 1973, and from 1977 to 1980, number 60 played for the Washington Redskins, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs. He was forced to retire from all three teams due to injury. After he retired in 1980, he began working for a catering business associated with Continental Airlines and Delta Airlines in 1981, and with Gate Gourmet, where he provided food service in the U.S. and international flights. He later transitioned as a literacy coordinator for Dobbs Catering to learning coordinator while still working as an executive for Gateway Gourmet. He became involved with the Georgia Literary Coalition to help workers who could not speak English. This program was immensely successful. At the Dobbs Center, he helped over 3,000 employees learn to speak English and furthered their educations. Some were even promoted. Through Chick-fil-A, as a former NFL player, he was a volunteer high school coach. Willie retired from the catering job and works for CarMax, helping customers finance and sell their cars. Willie married Kathy, that's Kathy with a K, in 1981, and they have several children and grandchildren together. They have been married for over 41 years.
Yes.
He has been very active in the NFL Players Association, and he is an ordained minister where he has volunteered as a chaplain for the Clark Atlanta University group. In 1999, Willie began experiencing pain on his left side, which was later diagnosed as kidney cancer, resulting in the removal of his left kidney some 23 years ago. He was also told that he had FSGS that might sometime in the future cause his right kidney to fail. To preserve his remaining kidney, Willie went on a very strict diet and exercise regimen, and as a result, even after all that time, Willie has never been placed on dialysis. That I consider remarkable, folks.
Yeah.
He began taking steps to obtain a kidney transplant by enlisting at Piedmont Atlanta Hospital Kidney Transplant and at the Mayo Clinic, and speaking out using social media to find a kidney donor. His efforts were complicated by the COVID-19 virus, and none of his family members matched. By March and April of 2019, the situation became desperate as his kidney function dropped to 15%. On April 26th, he received the call and was transplanted at Piedmont Transplant. The surgery was a success, and Willie has been doing well ever since. He has now dedicated his life to helping others obtain their kidney transplants. Please give a warm welcome to Willie Blackwell. Willie, how you doing tonight?
Man, thank you very much, Jim. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. You're doing a wonderful job.
Well, I appreciate you being here, man. Let's talk a little bit about where you grew up, your employment history, and your educational experience.
Yeah, well, I grew up, like you said, I was a military guy. My dad was in the Vietnam War and Korean War. And when he came back from Vietnam, we were living in St. Louis, Missouri. And he moved us to a place called Bossier City, Shreveport, Louisiana. You ever heard of Bossier City?
I have now.
Uh-oh. I lost you.
Willie, where are you, buddy?
Where you at? You still there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here.
I don't know what happened. I just lost you. But anyway, I was in Bossier City, Louisiana, and I went to a school called Airline High School and played football there and did very well. I was fortunate enough to get some scholarships, but I had my mind set on LSU. Matter of fact, I was going to LSU. And to make it a long story short, the assistant principal there was Riley Stewart. He said, "Well, I know you want to go to LSU. I heard all about that. You want to go down there." He said, "Would you do me one favor?" I said, What you want me to do?" He said, "I want you to go to a place called Morris Brown College in Atlanta and check it out." I said, "I know where Atlanta, Georgia, but where's Morris what?" He said, "Morris Brown College. I just want you to go there and see what you thought." I said, "Well, I know about Morehouse College, and I knew who that was." He said, "Just go to Atlanta. It's a free meal. They're going to feed you. You're going to have a great weekend. You don't have to worry about it." I said, "Well, if it's free, I go." So I went there and I came to Atlanta. You got to remember, just a 17-year-old kid coming from Shreveport, Louisiana to hot Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I was really excited. They took me on, took me out and party and everything. And I was really having a really good time. And they was telling me all this place, well, this is where Martin Luther King went to school, and this is where Andy Young went. And I said, "Oh, this is great. All these notorious leaders." He said, "We got one more place we want to take you." I said, "Okay, where's that?" He said, "This school is called Spelman College." I said, "What is that?" He said, "There's nothing but all females." I said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "No, we're not." So I go over there and I'm looking at all these ladies, and it's, "Oh, you coming up here to go to school with us?" I said, "Yes, I am." So I went back to Louisiana, and the assistant principal, Riley Stewart, says, have you made your mind up yet?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Where are you going to school at?" I said, "I'm going to Morris Brown College in Atlanta, Georgia." And that's what I did. And matter of fact, Jim, my wife is from Spelman College. So it worked. But anyway, I was fortunate enough to play at Morris Brown, and I did very well. And I graduated in '77 and signed a 2-year scholarship. They used to call the Washington Redskins back then, but now they call the Washington Commanders. And I did pretty good, but I started getting hurt. Kept tearing the hamstring muscles. And I get well, I get doing pretty good. But I did get my degree. I said, "I'm gonna keep pushing on." So went to Buffalo. I went up there for a while and tore my hamstring muscles again. I went over to Kansas City. I was doing really good, and I tore my hamstring muscles again. And I said, "Oh my God, this is just crazy." And I had them little, they had them little checks back then, Jim. They got
Yeah.
them checks now. We had them little checks. Ended up in the Canadian League for up the BC Lions for a little bit. And then I said to myself, I said, "Willie, spent 4 years of this football. You have your degree. Why don't you try something else?" So I went on back and went to work for Gay Gourmet Food Service because my degree was in food service. I had my degree, and had some money saved away. I was doing okay for that time. Had money saved away, and I moved up with the company there, working in operations. And I was a volunteer with a literacy program called the Georgia Literacy Coalition, where we went out in the community and helping people to learn how to read and write and get their GED. And my boss at work was telling me that he thought there was a lot of pilferage going on at our location. And I said, "Jim, we don't have any pilferage." I said, "What the problem is that people cannot read the recipes." He says, "What? How do you know they can't read the recipes?" I said, "Look, just take a look at it." And so they could cook it. The food tastes good. He said, "You're right. They're not even looking at the recipe." And when you look at that, there's nothing wrong with the food. And back then, that's costing millions of dollars because they thought it was pilferage, but it wasn't pilferage. I said, why don't we do this, Jim?" I said, "Why don't we have a on-site program that we can help our employees?" He said, "Well, how are we going to do that? How are we going to get people to come to class? We can't tell people they can't read." I said, "No, we're going to have a voluntary program. And we're going to tell our employees if they would like an opportunity to go back to school and get their GED, or if they can't speak English, because I noticed we don't even want to hire anybody because at that time, if you bag up to those big 727 airlines and you miss one item, the company doesn't get paid for it." That's thousands and thousands of dollars, and you can't have a translation problem. I said, so why don't we hire the people and train them how to speak English? And then for the African American community, we'll go through the literacy program. So we did a pilot program in Atlanta. It went over. It was fantastic, man. I decided to put everybody in cap and gowns, and we had the Rocky music playing, baby, and we marching out there in that Rocky music, and they invited their families, and I was crying, and they were crying. We all were crying and hugging each other, man. It was one of the most rewarding feelings a person can ever have for the first time in your life. And so that went over so well that I kind of like created my own job. They asked me to do that for the next 7 years throughout the company and expand that program. And as I was expanding it, I wanted to share that vision and our success with the rest of the world. So I wrote a book called America, Yes, I Can Read by Willie Blackwell, so other companies can kind of get an idea of what we did and how we did it. And CNN kind of picked it up and put it out there. And so I did a lot of that. And then going through that process about 7 years, as I was coming out of it, I had a problem with I kept getting a sharp pain, Jim, in my right side. You know, when you ever get a pain in your side, sometimes people say, just drink cranberry juice. You know, you ever heard that before? Drink some cranberry juice?
Yeah.
I'm a former player. I kind of know my body. This is a different pain that makes a tear come out your eyes. So I would tell the doctor, I said, Doc, this pain is different. I said, this ain't no sharp pain. So I would appreciate if you take a look at it. He said, well, I don't really see anything, but we can go get some x-rays on it. So Jim, this is how God works. This is a true story. I guess about a month before a couple months before I went to the doctor, I had to go to jury duty. And I hated it. I said, man, and I'll try my best to get out of it, man. And I had went down there and I told the people, I said, look, I travel a lot, you know. I said, I'm in airline catering. I'm a manager and I'm responsible for 300 warehouse people. And I travel. And they said, we don't care. You report to jury duty at this time, at this day. So that was the end of that. So while I was on this trial duty, there was this doctor. And he had married this lady, and this lady had put him through college. They had 2 kids. And he decided, you know, after she done paid all this money to help him get through, that he decided, well, he wasn't going to deal with it anymore. So he's going to divorce her. So they're going through this divorce, and we were going back and forth. And I was telling the person, look, guys, they made me the foreman. I said, look, we don't want to be here all day. I said, the doctor's got to pay the alimony, and the doctor's got to pay the child support, okay? We need to make sure he's still working so he can take care of those kids. So let's come to an agreement on what he needs to do so I can go home, y'all can go home, and everybody be happy. So to make a long story short, we did that. And then he came to me and afterwards. He said, well, I really appreciate you. I heard you was the one to helping me. And I said, Dr. Halper, I said, look, I wasn't helping you. You had 2 children to take care of, and we want to make sure you stay employed. He said, well, look, Willie, just in case you ever need any problems with kidneys or anything like that, I'm the radiologist. I'm the chief radiologist down at Piedmont Hospital, and come down to see me. I said, oh, sure. Oh, yeah, okay. Lo and behold, I had to go to the hospital. And I was wondering why I was taking so long. And she said, well, the guy, doctor, the radiologist want to see you personally. I said, well, say, okay. I thought that was standard procedure. Jim, I walk in there and guess who I saw? Dr. Robert Halper at Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta. He said, you don't remember me? I said, yeah, I do. I remember you. And he came in, he was sitting there, and then all these other students coming there, it was interns, and it was all, you have interns in there. He said, these are my interns, and they're going through training. This is Willie Blackwell. I met him on a situation I had, a personal matter. I want you to meet him. He said, well, look, he pulled up the film. He said, look, this is your right kidney. He said, I got good news and bad news. He said, the good news is, I know you want to hear that first, is that we can take care of you. I said, okay, what's the bad news? He said, well, you got kidney cancer. And we got to remove the whole kidney. I was looking at it. He said, I didn't see it first. It's like the size of a little BB. He said, I didn't see it at first, and it just developed. And the way it's located, we just have to take that whole kidney out and you shouldn't have any more problems. And I said, oh, wow. So make a long story short, that's what we did. They took it out. And then, of course, my doctors was telling me then, my kidney doctor was saying, look, now, you've got FSG in another kidney. You're probably going to get about 10 or 15 years out of it. But at some point, if that does happen, you may have to get transplant on that. But, I'm thinking, well, that's a long time ago. That's 20 years from now, 15. I ain't worried about it. But I will do this. I'm going to do this. I changed my whole diet right then. I cut out the pork. I cut out all the fried food. I started eating fruits and vegetables. I started exercising. I started doing all the things there are a lot of people doing now 15 years ago to try to get my body ready. Now exercising and try to get my stress level down. And so I think that was probably the biggest thing that happened to me as I got closer. In the latter part of the year, when I was going to the doctors the last 3 years, my kidney function had went from 30%, 20%, 15%, 13%. I was, oh Lord, I'm getting close here, and everybody was saying, look, really, we getting down, we go down 10, 12%, we're gonna have to put you on dialysis. And I said, well, Lord, I've been doing well, and I've been really doing well, but then when I go back and get my checkup, it'd be 13%, and then the numbers go back up to 18 and 19%. So I said, Lord, you're doing something. You're holding me for something. I don't know what you're doing, but I certainly appreciate it. I said my prayers every night, and my wife coming here, and she said, well, you've been praying a long time. I said, God's going to do this. So I was getting so bad, Jim, I would come home. I couldn't bend over and pick up a sock. And I was just telling the Lord, I said, God, look, God, it's been 3 years now. I said, I'm on a transplant list at Atlanta, and I'm on a transplant list at the Mayo Clinic. I said, I'm still helping people. I said, I've been a faithful man for 41 years to my wife. I was putting it, Jim, I was putting it all out there, man. I was making a public appeal to God. I said, look, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I help people. And I said, God, come on now. I know somebody. And really, Jim, to make it straight, there were a lot of people that really tried to help me with social media. I must have had these 82 people that tried to help me the first time. And out of those 82 people, I tell people in my church, I told them this, I said, look, don't you know some of those 82 people were Republicans? Some were Democrats. Some were independents. Some were white. Some were black. It didn't matter. They all wanted to try to help Willie Blackwell. So I know you see a lot of negative stuff out there in the world, but we still got a lot of good people in the world because they tried to help me, and they really did try, including my family members. But, they had diabetes, they had blood pressure. So I was telling the Lord, Jim, I said, Lord, I know it's going to happen, but, I'm just going to wait it out. So I'm going to keep waiting. So after I had made that prayer that morning, the next morning I got up, and in my room, I still have a landline. A lot of people don't have landline. I have the landline, I have the cell phone, and I got my big screen up, and up the bottom, I see Piedmont Hospital come across the screen, and the phone is ringing. And I'm thinking, well, that's somebody probably calling me because, you have to give blood every month, and they wanted to let me know that they didn't get my blood or whatever. So I said, let me call these people back. So I called the lady back. She said, Willie Blackwell? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, good morning to you. I said, well, good morning to you. She said, well, we got a kidney for you, baby. I said, don't be playing with me like that now. I said, you don't understand. I've been waiting 3 years for a kidney. And I just prayed to God, I said, last night I was crying like a little kid because I didn't know if I could hold off because I'd never been on dialysis, but I was getting close to it. She said, well, you don't know about that. She said, we got one for you. She said, I'm going to tell you something. She said, now, can you be here in 2 hours? I said, I'm already there. I'm already there, Jim. Jim, I was so excited. I ran upstairs. I told my wife, I was crying, man. And my daughter was here, Krista, my oldest girl. I said, man, these people at Piedmont didn't call me and told me I got a kidney. Jim, I'm about to cry now. Think about it. It was one of the wonderful days I had in my life. And my wife, let me drive. I said, no. Excuse me, Jim. I said, no. I said, I'm going to drive because the Lord done made this happen, and we're going to see it through. I said, a lot of the people here in the county know me. I said, if the police stop me, I'm just going to tell them who I am. I've been in the papers and everybody, and they know I'm helping. They'll give me an escort. Because I was concerned about that traffic, because I know it takes at least two, coming from my house going downtown, it take about at least an hour and a half. Jim, I made that thing about 35, 40 minutes. And boy, I tell you, you just don't know, man. That was one of the most joyous occasions a man could ever ask for.
Okay. And, Willie, give me a chance to ask a couple of questions, okay?
Yes.
One thing I wanted to talk to you about that I wanted to stress, your vice principal, Riley Stewart, when he was encouraging you to go to college,
yeah.
Would it be fair for me to say that he also encouraged you about your academics to make sure you had something to fall back on?
He did. He was said that was the whole key there. He said, look, football is great, but you need to go somewhere where you're going to graduate. He said, I'm not saying you can't graduate from LSU, but he said he thought that coming to Atlanta, the class size was much smaller. You'll get more of attention than you would at a big university at that time. And he said, you're a smart kid anyway. I don't think you have a problem at LSU. But he said, in events you don't make it in the NFL with the long career, you need to be able to make some money. And he was right, because, they got, the NFL players didn't start making the money until the late 90s. And I did pretty good, but my income was from the corporate America. That's why I made my income.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, you did volunteer as a high school coach through Chick-fil-A, and you've worked for CarMax. Can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I was Chick-fil-A had a program called Play It Smart, and they were looking for people to come in to the high schools as academic coaches to be able to support young people and helping them secure, not only that, just being a mentor to them. And I did that for about 3 years at Frederick Douglass High School here in Atlanta. And that was probably another rewarding job that I did, Jim, is being able to help those young people. Because what I did then is we set up study hall. They had problems, and I would sit down with them and I would tell them about my situation, how I went through the NFL and the thing that I had, and I would kind of show them a picture of my house and say, this is where I live now. And they said, well, God, that's nice, Coach. I said, yeah. I said, but that money came from the corporate America now. But if you look at it, you think I'm still playing in the National Football League. So your academic is still important, and they see me driving a nice vehicle and stuff. And I said, you can still have these other things besides playing football.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your family, because we don't want Miss Kathy to be hitting us over the head when this is over. I understand that you married Miss Kathy in Kathy with a K in 1981.
Yeah.
You've been married for 41 years. Is that right?
Hey, Jim, to the same woman too.
Yeah. Congratulations for that.
Yeah. Now, if she was here, what she would tell you? To the same man too. Yeah. My wife was a retired flight attendant, and a lot of it, she was kind of more instrumental in helping me with that literacy program, because she was like the A-line with Delta Airlines, and she would get very frustrated when they would move up, when the people would cater to planes, and if you didn't have the right food and right amount, and she used to go to Europe a lot of times, and didn't have the right amount, and she didn't want to be telling no customers that, well, I'm sorry, we didn't have enough chicken or we didn't have enough steaks. And she was saying, well, why don't they hire people that can read, can speak English? I can't understand. And she was kind of, that kind of helped me get the idea that we needed to do something. She was very instrumental in helping me get that idea.
Okay. My notes tell me that you have 3 children and you have grandchildren. Can you talk to us about your children and your grandchildren a little bit?
Yeah, I have one son. He's doing really well, Lamont. And then he has 4 kids. And then I have 2 daughters, Crystal and April. Yeah,
Okay.
they all doing well.
Okay. I understand that one of your grandchildren plays college football for Boston College. Is that correct?
Yeah, Willie Blackwell, number 8. They're playing tomorrow at Florida State. So you make sure you take a look at him.
Okay.
He's been playing since he's been 5 years old. He's doing really well. And he kind of reminds me of myself. He's got that tenacity. He don't want to quit.
All right. Good for him. I understand that you've been very active in the NFL Players Association. Can you tell us about your activities there, please?
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with the NFL. We do stuff and different stuff, like different activities with different schools, programs. We do golf tournaments and stuff like that, where we try to give money to different charities. We have a scholarship fund every year where we donate money to various schools and give back to different schools. Of course, as you mentioned earlier, I was a chaplain at Clark Atlanta University for many years, and that's Morris Brown. And then as an NFLPA, I do a lot of speaking with NFL teams. Before my kidney went out, I was moving around pretty well. I've spoken at, with the Atlanta Falcons and Cincinnati Bengals, and a lot of the colleges that come through. And that's my passion to keep going, to keep doing that here in the Atlanta area.
Okay, our buddy Steve Belcher, my old producer, is asking. He wants to know if your grandson's a starter.
You know, he's a sophomore this year. He was a red what do you call it? Red coat freshman or red freshman?
Red shirt.
Red shirt freshman last year. So they have a certain rotation package. That didn't change a lot since when I was playing. So when they go to those wide receivers and tight ends, where they call the West Coast offense, he's in that rotation. So he plays in that rotation, which is good. And I try to I tell him this all the time. I said, look, Jalen, you don't need but 1 year to go to the pros. Don't worry about it. Save your body. You don't have to be a starter. You need 1 year, one good year, and you'll be fine. Because you have to be smart with that NFL stuff now.
Okay. You are very active as an elder and an ordained minister.
Yes.
In your church. Can you talk to us a little bit about your ministry?
Yes. Well, we've been in ministry now, me and my wife together, Jim, now 35 years. And we're ordained back at Atlanta Metropolitan Cathedral Church. And my goal at that time, when God had called me to do that, I said, well, God, let me just go and just help people at the church. And was ordained a deacon. And in 5 years, we went to school, ministry school there, and became ordained ministers and elders. And we started working with small groups. Well, I really didn't want to work with married couples because I just kind of felt that I told my wife that, if we can get married couples to make it through the tough time, they can stick around. And I wanted to be that example. I said, now we've been married 42 years, which I thank God for it. And people said, well, how do y'all do it? What do you do? I said, we just communicate with each other. And a lot of that, we always laugh when we leave a counseling session after we be with people. We say, now, I told you we didn't have any problems, because you listen to so many people's problems and it's so minute. And then when they leave, you say, you don't have any problems at all. It is amazing how that works. But then, most of our ministry was done with, like I said, marriages, couples, young couples. And then I kind of ventured off with the youth. I did a lot of stuff with the youth at the colleges and the universities and the high school.
Okay. I read, Willie, that the governor of your state, Zale Miller, gave you a top literacy award for your volunteer literacy services while you were working for Dobbs and
Yeah,
the Gate Gourmet Food Service. Can you tell us about that?
yeah, I start crying on that too, man. Big cry, big teddy bear. Yeah, that was a very emotional time because he had recognized me as doing something innovative at that time. And I guess it was because nobody that I know of in the United States had ever set up an on-site workplace GED education program at the workplace. And then he was saying that not only did I set it up, wrote a book so other corporations could also duplicate what we did. And I thanked him for it. And that was a great moment.
Okay. You were talking to us about your kidney issues. It's my understanding that you were first diagnosed in 1999, some 23 years ago, and that led to the removal of your left kidney due to kidney cancer. Can you tell us where did that occur? What hospital?
That was at Piedmont Hospital here in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And we was able to get care of.
All right. And you were telling us the story about the steps you were taking in the meantime to obtain a kidney. Now, I understand that you were on social media, you worked with church groups, you had a page on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you even have a TikTok. You've done videos, you've done other broadcasts and podcasts, you reached out to the NFL Players Association. Talk to us about some of the steps that you took to try and locate a living donor.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that question, Jim, because I had to, when I realized that I needed help, and I said to myself, wait a minute, Willie, what do you do for a living? I said, you are in sales and marketing. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a sales guy. I just happen to sell food, airline catering, and then later on with Amtrak, food on trains. The same concept and the same thing. And I said, I got to come up with a way to tell my story, to let people know I'm available, and I need to use every form and every tool that I can to get the word out. And by doing this, and I had one guy was telling me, I got a text the other day, and I was telling him that I was on TikTok. He said, well, I don't use TikTok. I said, well, let me tell you why I use TikTok. I said, I use TikTok because there's a lot of young people on TikTok. Okay. And whenever I go into a church, and don't get me wrong, and I see a lot of old people in there, I see a dying church because they haven't looked up to try to find some way to reach out to young people to get them to come into the church. And you want to be able to get on TikTok. They're not saying, and you can do it. If you look at my TikTok videos, they're very informative. They're short. They're sweet. They got a message that God loves you. Yes, He's still in control. Yes, you can make it. Hey, I went through this. I was a former player. Yes, I was your age too. I know what you're going through, and it's on TikTok. And so you want to try to do things that you can reach people, and that's why TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all my grandkids know me. My great grand, my kids know me. Everybody knows me. They say, we're seeing your dad on TikTok. And that's how you stay in touch with them because they're all over the country.
Okay. Just so folks know, in the comments to this original broadcast, I have posted every newspaper article, every YouTube video, any video or broadcast that I could find that Willie has made right up through the point of his transplant. So if you want to learn more about Willie or you have an interest in that, check that out. And your Uncle Jim, like Willie, I'm all over social media. I got a TikTok too, Willie. I put a video on there all of about 10 minutes before the broadcast started. So just to remind people that it was coming up. So any rate, if you want to learn more about Willie, check out the comments to the original broadcast. I must have posted 10, 20 articles anyways there. So Lots of information about our friend Willie. Talk to us about March, April of 2019. I understand that your good kidney was failing, that your kidney function was down to about 15%, that was a drop of over 50% in your function. Can you tell us a little bit about what was going through your mind at that time?
Man, I tell you, to be quite honest with you, I said, Lord, this can't be it, because I was just feel that was a low time because as you know, with kidney disease makes you very tired, as you well know, and I just know that I had to just stick in there because I was very tired, I was very weak, and I was still going to work, and the people at work was not, how in the world he's able to do that? Because I was going to work because I wanted to still be healthy enough and strong enough. I keep moving because I wanted to make sure that my numbers stay good while I can stay eligible to be on the transplant list. But at the same time, they were dropping, Jim. You're right. They were getting weak. But I just came home and prayed. And then somehow after I prayed and read my Bible, for somehow, Jim, I got strength enough to make it the next day.
Okay.
God.
You talked to us about receiving the call, the wild drive to Piedmont in a half an hour to get there by 2 hours. Let's talk about the day you were transplanted. Now, that's April 26, 26, correct?
That's correct.
Of 2022. So that was recently. No, I have it in error on the banner going across. So it's really April 26th. Tell us about what happened on the day you were transplanted.
Well, like I said earlier, it was a day that they called me, and I asked my wife this question as we were going. I said, Kathy, she said, what? I said, am I dreaming? She said, no, you're not dreaming. Seriously, I said, pinch me. Because I want to know, am I dreaming? Because I was in tears, Jim, as I was going. I was in tears, but they were happy tears though, and the lady on the phone was so nice that called me, and she was telling me to look, if you have any questions about where to go, this is where you need to go. I'm gonna be here waiting on you. Things gonna happen for you. And when I got there, it's like they knew I was coming. They said, yeah, we're gonna take good care of you. You don't have to worry about it. And I think what really got me, I met the surgeon, the guy who actually did the kidney transplant. And he came to me and he said, look, Mr. Blackwell, I have not seen your kidney. He said, but I understand that it's from a younger person. He said, if this kidney is not good enough, I'm not going to give it to you. But I think it is good enough from what everybody's telling me. And I said, okay, sir, I believe you. So he said, you just sit here. And I sat down in the room. Next thing I know, about 4 or 5 minutes, they told me to go upstairs. And I was in another room. A lady was prepping me, you know how they put on your stuff and getting you ready. I was in there for about another 10 minutes, and I was with another lady, and I was telling her about my situation, and she was telling me that she had gotten divorced, and I was telling her that, well, I'm so sorry. Let me pray for you. And she said, no, you don't have to pray. It was a good thing, But she was but everybody was so nice. And then the surgeon guy came back in, and he gave me a thumbs up. He said, baby, we got a good one. He said, now you get you a good sleep because I'm going to give you a new kidney.
Excellent. Excellent. It's my understanding that the surgery's been a terrific success, that you really haven't had any problems and you're relatively pain-free since the time of the surgery.
Right. Yeah, I've been pretty good. It was, anytime you come out of surgery, normally kidney people, where they spend about 3 or 4 days. I don't know how long you stayed in the hospital. Well, in my situation, I stayed in there 7 days. They just wanted to make sure because, and a lot of it has to do about me being I'm about 6'2", about 260. And if I was, if I was, 6'2", 155, might be a little different. I think they had a little more body to work with to get well. But it was pretty good. Now, like I said, they put me on the very medication. Of course, it was a little painful when I first came out of there, but they gave me the right medication and the stuff to take to deal with the pain. But I was so excited and so grateful. I kind of just, hey man, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the post-transplant care that you had through Piedmont.
Hey, I tell you, I couldn't say enough about those folks. They're very considerate. They walk you through. They tell you what to expect. I know the nurse came in. She said, "Look, you need to learn all these medications." And I said, "Well, can I just write it down?" She said, "No. You need to know what cyclochlorine is. You need to know you're taking 100 milligrams of this, and you take another 20 grams of cyclochlorine, and you need to take 5 milligrams of prednisone. So you need to know how much you're taking and when you take it, and you need to know, and your wife need to know, because if something happens to you and you out somewhere, you need to be able to tell somebody that you got a kidney, and they know, so we can get you going." And I said, and she was so right. You just, and those are things you don't think about. But they were very detailed and very on there, and they got me going. And I said, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am." And they took very good care of me.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the things that you have done since the time of your transplant to help other people. I understand that you do a lot of advocacy for other people since the time of your transplant. And tell us a little bit about the things that you've been up to.
Well, Jim, I told the Lord, I said, "Lord, if you give me this kidney," I know it took years because people, God is always on time, Jim. And that might be when we want it, but it's always the right time. And I said, "God, if you get me through this, and I know you will, until my last death breath of air, I'm going to go out and reach out and help other people." And so what I've been doing is I'm working with about 6 people now. And one of the guys, Leon Hammond, who was referred to me from a member of my church, he had called me up, and he told me what really struck me about him is he said to me, he says, "Look, I am a assistant principal at a major high school here in Atlanta. I have a 3-year-old, I have a 6-year-old, and I've been told I have stage 4 kidney disease, and nobody knows but him and his wife, not even the family members." And I remember when I first got that, I was talking to my doctor, and my doctor was telling me, he said, "Willie, you can't keep this to yourself. You got to share this. You got to let people know who you are and what you got." And I had to tell Leon the same thing. And he got, one thing I liked about him is he did everything I asked him to do. And we were able to get him in the media with the WSB TV. And we got a radio show we're going to do next week. And I'm working with some other people, and one guy out up in Memphis, and some other people. And I'm trying my best. Anybody that needs help, anybody just want to know what to do, how to market themselves, where to go. And I was telling people, I said, if you go to the National Kidney Register, it doesn't depend what state you in. There you can just put your name in there and register if you want to be a donor, and tell the people you want to go to Piedmont, you want to go to wherever you want to go. You can do it. I just go to the National Register and say, "I want to be a kidney donor for this person, and I want to go to Piedmont Hospital, or I want to go to Mayo Hospital, whether it be Mayo in here in Jacksonville, or Mayo in Minnesota. The National Kidney Donor, you could be a donor."
Okay, one of our good friends, Lisa Thompson, is checked into the broadcast tonight. She works with the National Kidney Registry. She's
Oh, great,
one of the
great.
people that helps other people get transplants. And also our good friend Kent Bressler from Kidney Solutions in Texas. He helps people get transplants as well, our sponsor. So we want to make sure we plug everybody so they know there's help out there if you need it. And if you need information, contact Willie, contact me. We're both happy to help you.
That's right.
Okay. I understand that in addition to working with people from your church, you've also worked with people from Piedmont Hospital, or you've worked on the hospital's behalf.
Yeah, they called me up and they got me on their website and being encouragement to people, so people can see that I went there and they asked me, how things were and so I have people that's here, particularly in Atlanta, because I have people call me and say, well, how did it go there? Did you do it? And what's it about? What are the cartels? And a lot of times people just want to know, what is it like? They just want to know. They just want to know from somebody that's been through it, and
Yeah.
I'm working with them. I'm doing some stuff with them now.
Okay. You've also done some broadcasts like this one. You've done some podcasting concerning helping people out to get their kidney transplant. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? I know you talked to Jared for what, 2 hours?
Yeah, Jared is a good man. I've been working on he's got a show. His show comes on Wednesday, right? Wednesday
Yeah, I
night.
believe so.
Yeah, Jared's a great guy, and that's why I refer Leon to Warrior's Quest, and then also the kidney nurse,
Steve Belcher, right?
Steve
He
Belcher.
was on in the comments tonight too.
Yeah, Steve Belcher and him. These are good people, and these are all good people that's out here advocating to support anybody that needs help with kidney disease. And you too, Jim. Don't leave yourself out. I mean, you out here helping people. That's why I keep telling people all the time. There's a lot of good folks in the world that'll help you. Just reach out. They're out there.
Well, we're booked on broadcast through December, but after
Amen.
the first of the year, I'm wide open. So if any kidney patient wants to come on and tell their story, just contact me and we'll hook you up.
All right.
Talk to us a little bit. We're kind of in the home stretch here, Willie.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, is there any final statement that you wish to make? Is there anything I forgot to bring up that I should have? Is there a statement you'd like to make to people that are waiting for a kidney transplant? Any kind of final statement?
Well, I just let people know that you're not alone. Many times, me being a minister, I tell people one of the deception is that don't tell anybody. Don't let nobody know you got a problem. Keep it to yourself. No, don't. You don't. You want to tell somebody. You don't want to keep to yourself. You want to say, look, I have kidney disease. Okay, that's fine. What I'm gonna do about it? Who do I talk to? First is that good doctor. You find a good doctor, and you try to find out what's going on. And as you know, there are many forms. Stage 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's so many people walking around now, Jim, with kidney disease and don't even know it. So I tell my people all the time. I say, if you go to the bathroom and you have a urinate, and you look down there, and that thing is a dark yellow, and it's real getting different colors. You need to go to the doctor, get that test done on that stuff, and get a blood test and see what's going on. Don't wait. The quicker you can get it done, the quicker you can offset all this stuff. And that's a lot of people.
Excellent.
Diet and exercise is key. I tell people all the time, I said the reason I wasn't on dialysis because when I had the first surgery, I said I didn't stop eating I didn't stop eating chicken. I still love my fried chicken. I just had about once every 2 months. But I didn't eat pork every day. I didn't eat all the greasy food. I didn't eat high sodium. I used to go into the store and just go to the grocery store. Now I read labels. How much sodium is in this package? How much? It takes me, it takes me an hour, 2 hours to go to the store now because I'm reading packages. I'm looking at labels. What's put in my body? I'm not going to buy an 8-ounce pack of cookies and it's got 800 grams of sodium in it. I used to. I'm not going to do that. So those are little things, high blood pressure, diabetics, your diet. This stuff causes kidney disease. So folks, just be moderate about that. And I know when you're young, you feel like you're never going to die. When I was an athlete, I felt the same way. But just take a little time and just be more patient about your food and your diet, and take good care of yourself, and you can do it. You can make it.
Okay. Our friend Lisa wants me to remind everybody that she runs a group, Kidney Toastmasters, and if you're one of those people that have trouble speaking or trouble getting your story out, contact Lisa, and she'll get you hooked up with the Toastmasters. They work with you on speaking. And our good friend Kent Bressler reminds us that if you have kidney disease, people don't know to donate to you unless you let them know. So gotta tell your story.
Gotta tell your
Anything
story.
else that you'd like to say to the audience tonight, Willie?
Other than that, I think we mentioned before, if there's a donor out here, somebody heard this and they said, well, I think I would like to help. Go to the National Kidney Register, get on there, register, and say, look, I like to register. And if you just tell them what location, and then again, put down there, tell them if you know somebody specifically, put that person's name in there, and go ahead and help them.
All right, Willie, I appreciate you coming on so much. What a terrific kidney story that you tell, and you're an inspiration to all of us that want to get the word out and help other people. So I thank you so much for coming on the broadcast tonight and helping to raise awareness and educate members of our audience. Much appreciated, my friend. All right, Willie, you can go. I just have some announcements to make, and then we'll wind up the broadcast. So you have a good night. Tell Kathy I said hello. All right, everybody. What a terrific show this was. Upcoming broadcast on the 30th of September. We have Kelsey Reed. She's a medical nutritionist. She's going to talk to us about chronic kidney disease and nutrition. On the 7th of October, Dr. Sheenan Moa, MOA, he's going to talk about transplants in children. You know that I have a soft spot for pediatric kidney patients. On the 14th of October, Dr. Christian Hanna, he's from the Mayo Clinic. He's going to talk about PKD issues in children. Should be a very exciting broadcast, a new topic for us. On the 21st of October, our good friend Risa Simon is back. She's going to talk to us about a new app that she has for kidney patients. Real exciting stuff. I've been kind of monkeying around with it myself. On the 28th of October, Lainey Esquivel from the PKD Champions is going to come back to speak to us about her work as a champion and a PKD advocate. On the 4th of November, Allie Dawson is with us. He's going to tell his kidney story. On the 11th of November, Rachel Rusama is with us. Rachel's husband had kidney cancer and passed away. We're going to talk to Rachel about her experiences as a caretaker with kidney cancer. On the 18th of November, fingers crossed here, my friend Teresa Diggs is going to come on. Teresa's had a heart transplant. Teresa's had a kidney transplant. She's a very tough lady. She has a beautiful young daughter. You don't want to miss that broadcast. I say tentatively because sometimes Teresa does not feel well. So if she doesn't feel well that night, I'm probably going to tell her, we'll do this another time. But just so you know, on the 2nd of December, Dr. Stenke, Steinke, is going to come on with us. We're going to talk kidney. On the 9th of December, Kristen McCall is going to come on. We're going to talk about her kidney story. I'm very excited about this. On the 16th of December, Sharon Simpson Rouse is going to come on. She's going to talk to us about her kidney story, her kidney advocacy. A very, very experienced kidney patient and advocate. I cannot wait for that broadcast. Just so you know, I'm giving you the Friday after Thanksgiving off. I'm giving you Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, which both happen to fall on a Friday this year, off, and we'll be doing broadcasts after the 16th, starting again in January of 2023. Don't think your Uncle Jim has abandoned you. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't think that people are going to be too interested in a broadcast the day after Thanksgiving or on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. I think you guys have better things to do. I know I have better things to do. So, any rate, that's our broadcast for tonight. You all take care. It's good to see you, and I hope we raised a little awareness tonight about kidney transplant and our friend Willie Blackwell. And wow, what a great show! So we'll talk to you soon. Here's a few photos from Willie's portfolio. Willie when he was playing in college. Willie with the Players Association. That's Willie's family, his immediate family. Willie and Kathy. Willie in his house. And that is your Uncle Jim. This is our sponsor, Kidney Solutions. Be sure you check them out. And I thank you very much for attending the broadcast. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Have a good evening, everybody.